Hello and welcome back to Haywire34. Today is week 10. Wow, thank you so much for still being on this journey with me. And I really hope you're enjoying it. And I really appreciate you coming back week after week after week. Today we shall be covering chapters 26, 27 and 28. And I really hope you enjoyed them. Chapter 26. Penny's mind replayed her conversation with Gretchen from the night before. She suspected that there was more to the story than Gretchen had let on, and she couldn't shake the feeling that her friend was in trouble. At the same time, she couldn't help but to worry about hers and Hector's worsening pain issues. The future seemed so bleak, and Penny felt helpless in the face of it all. Her phone gripped tightly in her hand. Penny anxiously paced around her sitting room, almost tripping on the woven rug. She had attempted to reach Gretchen multiple times throughout the day, but each call went directly to voicemail. Penny tried again, nervously drumming her fingers on the mantelpiece as she waited for the call to connect. Once more it went to voicemail. A sense of dread filled her as she feared the worst. It was true that Gretchen occasionally disconnected from everyone by switching off her phone, but we arranged that I would call her today. She was insistent that I do, Penny recalled silently, beginning to worry even more. Maybe she forgot, Penny told herself, but no, she decided silently. Gretchen's a stickler for keeping appointments, and she wouldn't turn off her phone without making contact. Penny's worry deepened. I could call Auntie Bimbo to check what's going on, Penny ruminated. No, she decided immediately. She'll start worrying. Left with no other choice, Penny decided to go to Gretchen's house. Penny's thoughts shifted to Hector, who was upstairs resting. Having reached an impasse in her conversation with him about a backup plan in the eventuality that either or both of them ended up paralyzed, Penny was feeling in need of quiet reflection before going to Gretchen's. So, writing a quick note to Hector, she grabbed her bag and headed out. She chose to make a stop at Our Lady of Muswell, her parish church. The church was on the way to Gretchen's home, depending on the route she took. It would be Penny's first time in 10 years stepping into a church since her parents' tragic death in a car accident for which she was yet to forgive God. Pushing open the heavy wooden doors of the church, the familiar scent of polished wood and burning candles enveloped Penny. The church was quiet and dimly lit, with only a few flickering candles casting a glow on the stained glass windows. Penny's footsteps echoed softly as she made her way down the aisle, the weight of the past few weeks bearing down on her shoulders. She slid into a pew near the front, the familiar creak of the wooden bench offering a strange sense of comfort. As she knelt, Penny's gaze was drawn to the altar, where a large crucifix hung, illuminated by the soft red candlelight just above the tabernacle. Penny felt a lump form in her throat as she remembered the countless Sundays she had spent in this very church with her parents, who'd always preferred this little church to theirs in Hampstead. Tears ran down her face as she whispered a prayer for Hector, her parents, herself, Gretchen, Mick, their boys, Rupert, Sarah, Charlotte, and all their friends. Penny pleaded for strength, for guidance, and for a miracle for all of them. Lost in her prayers, she failed to notice the soft murmur of voices filling the church, or the gentle clinking of silverware as the elderly ladies prepared the church for Mass. It wasn't until the unmistakable tinkling of the bell signalling the arrival of the priest that Penny was pulled from her thoughts. She checked her phone. The time was 6:30 in the evening, time for the Saturday Vigil Mass. Penny looked around, startled to see that the church was no longer empty. People were filing into the pews, their faces solemn and reverent. She felt a momentary panic, realizing that she had lost track of time. The priest, Father Michael, walked slowly down the aisle, his robes swaying gently with each step. His kind eyes scanned the congregation before coming to rest on Penny. He offered her a warm smile, and she felt her panic begin to subside. As the Mass began, Penny found herself drawn into the familiar rhythm of the service. The scent of incense filled the air as the priest swung the censer, the smoke curling and swirling in the candlelight. The choir's voices rose and fell in harmony, filling the sanctuary with a sense of peace and tranquility. Despite her earlier reservations about attending Mass, Penny found herself feeling grateful for the comfort and solace it provided. After the service, as she emerged from the church, The warm evening sunlight and chatter of other parishioners slowly brought her back to the present moment. As she took a deep breath and adjusted her sunglasses, a familiar voice caught her off guard. "Penny?" Penny turned to see Charlotte standing in front of her, a tentative smile on her face. "Oh, Charlotte, hi!" Penny stammered, feeling caught off guard. I didn't expect to see you here." Charlotte smiled warmly, stepping forward to give Penny a hug. "What are you doing here? I thought you stopped attending Mass." Her tone was a mix of surprise and delight. Penny nodded, feeling a twinge of guilt. "I did for a while," she admitted. "But with everything that's been happening lately, I feel like I needed to come back. It's, comforting. Charlotte nodded, her expression understanding. "It is, isn't it?" she said, softly. "Sometimes it helps to go back to the familiar things, especially in tough times." Penny smiled. "Exactly. How's the situation with Nathan going?" she added to deflect from further conversations about her beleaguered faith. "Awful," Charlotte frowned. "He's really getting nasty now." "I'm really sorry to hear that, Charlotte. What does your lawyer have to say about it all?" "Well, we're scheduled to have a meeting on Monday." "Life, eh?" Charlotte shrugged. As Charlotte and Penny continued to chat, their voices mingling with the sounds of the bustling church courtyard, they caught sight of a familiar figure standing off to the side, as if waiting for a chance to speak to Father Michael. Gretchen's slumped shoulders and downcast gaze immediately caught their attention. "Gretchen?" Charlotte called out, waving her hand to get their friend's attention. Gretchen looked up, and for a moment her face registered surprise and relief at the sight of her friends. "Hey!" she said, her voice barely above a whisper as they approached her. "I've been trying to reach you all day. Are you okay?" Penny asked. "You look really upset." Gretchen hesitated for a moment before shaking her head. "No, I'm not okay," she admitted, her voice trembling. I'm in a fix and I don't know what to do." Charlotte wrapped an arm around Gretchen's shoulders, drawing her in for a hug. "Why don't we go back to my place, eh?" she suggested. "We can talk about everything and figure out how to sort things out." End of Chapter 26. Chapter 27. Charlotte lived in a Victorian semi-detached house on Wellfield Avenue, a short walk from Our Lady of Muswell, and round the corner from Gretchen. At the front of the house, a small, well-maintained garden was enclosed by a waist-high wrought-iron fence. The garden was adorned with an array of carefully arranged potted plants. A variety of flowering plants added colour and texture, including hydrangeas with their large, vibrant blooms and delicate peonies that filled the air with a subtle sweet fragrance. In addition, there were terracotta pots containing cheerful marigolds, petunias and pansies, providing bright accents that caught the eye. The three women walked up the cobblestone pathway that led to the entrance of the house, which was sheltered by a small porch, with intricate stained glass detailing on the front door. Waiting for Charlotte to open the door, Penny leaned against one of the pair of bay trees that flanked the entrance, their lush green foliage providing a sense of symmetry and structure. Meanwhile, Gretchen was doing her best to avoid the ivy plants with their cascading vines and lobed leaves trailing from hanging baskets. Finally opening the door, Charlotte led the way to the sitting room, which was cosy and inviting in the dim evening sunlight that filtered through the sash windows. The high ceiling added volume to the room, while the patterned rug that partially covered the marble-tiled floor tempered the whiteness of the walls and floor. Gretchen made a beeline for the nook of the large corner sofa that sat opposite a pair of armchairs upholstered in soft, neutral tones. Penny followed close behind her, brushing against the low, unusually shaped stone coffee table that sat between the chairs and the sofa. What a lovely smell!" Penny noted, on catching a whiff of the scented candle that was on the table. "Poundland," Charlotte proudly announced. "But it closed down ages ago," Penny remarked. "The one in Wood Green," Charlotte clarified, as she placed the church newsletter on top of the restored mantelpiece above the fireplace. Looking in the ornate mirror above the mantelpiece, Charlotte caught sight of Gretchen beginning to cry. "I can't take any more," Gretchen announced as the tears ran down her cheeks. Grabbing a box of tissues from one of the built-in shelving units that flanked the fireplace, Charlotte hurried towards her. Before she got there, Penny sat down beside Gretchen and cradled her. "What's going on, Gretch?" Penny inquired softly. "Everything." Instinctively, Charlotte went and drew the curtains, as if to protect them from the world beyond. Is Meg worse? She asked, sitting down on the other side of Gretchen. No. Charlotte cast Penny a questioning glance. The boys? She continued. No. Daniel? Penny cut in. Gretchen nodded. Who's Daniel? Charlotte quizzed, looking confused. He's someone with whom I was hoping to start a bakery, Gretchen explained. A bakery? Yes. So what's the problem? Charlotte wondered aloud. I'm confused. Business-wise, Daniel seemed the total opposite to Mick, who I felt was lacking direction, Gretchen explained. I was sort of attracted to him. Oh, Gretchen! Charlotte reproached her loudly. I didn't have an affair with him, Gretchen confirmed immediately. We shared a kiss, nothing else. And now it's time for the next level, is that it? No! Gretchen cried loudly, looking horrified. I decided to end all contact, everything, and now he's stalking me. Stalking you? Oh, Gretchen! Charlotte cried, placing her hand on her forehead. But you said you weren't sure about that, Penny reminded her. His car was parked outside my house this morning. Are you sure? Yes, I saw him. He wanted me to see him. How did he find you? Penny asked. Through our mutual friend. Oh, great! Penny groaned with exasperation. It wasn't her fault, Gretchen explained. Daniel told her he wanted to show his support, to send flowers, so she gave him my address. How long was he outside your house? I'm not sure, Gretchen admitted, but he was there for quite a while. Has he threatened you? Charlotte probed. Not directly, but he called again about 40 times this morning. I had to switch off my phone in the end. Penny and Charlotte regarded each other. We need to go to the police, Penny suggested. And say what? Gretchen asked. All he's written is that no one gets away with using him like I did. That sort of thing. Using him? Charlotte frowned. How? What's he talking about? I have no clue. The man is delusional. Penny looked irritated. Come on, guys, she snapped. Used, not used, that's irrelevant. He knows where Gretchen lives, and he was outside her house. That's serious. But he did nothing, Gretchen pointed out. He was there. He had no business being there, except to intimidate you or... Penny broke off. Charlotte glanced across at Penny. You don't think he'd harm her, do you? I don't know, Penny said, but the man is clearly mentally off-piste, so we need to be proactive in how we handle the situation. True, Charlotte agreed. She paused as if mentally weighing up the options, and then she asked, Does he have a history of stalking? Gretchen shrugged. I don't know, I don't think so. But he may, Charlotte intimated. Stop it, Penny told her. You're scaring me now. That could be an angle for getting the police involved, Charlotte said. But... Gretchen began to cry again, cutting Charlotte off in mid-speech. I've got so much on my plate already. I really don't need this, Gretchen sobbed. We know. Don't worry, we'll sort it out, Penny consoled her. I'll have to tell Meg, Gretchen suddenly announced. No, Penny cried. He's gone through enough already. Can't we just leave him to recuperate in peace? We don't know much about Daniel and how far he'll go. I have Mick and the boys to think about. Mick's got to be told in case it takes a bad turn. Aye, Penny gasped. Can't we just get the police to nip it all in the bud? She suggested. We'll need to have some information for them to go on, Charlotte stated. He's stalking her. That's enough information. He's only been to her house once. That we know of, Penny retorted. Gretchen would have noticed if it was more, Charlotte reasoned. Not necessarily, Penny replied. And I don't like this idea of waiting longer for something more to happen. We're not waiting for something more to happen. I just think we need more information about him to give to the police, Charlotte explained. The police can get better information than we can, and faster, Penny reminded her. But they'll need a starting point, Charlotte persisted. Gretchen threw her arms up in frustration. Other than the basics, that he's divorced, a pastry chef, has a successful patisserie in Battersea, I don't know anything else about him. Can we trace his ex-wife? She'll know more about him, Penny asked. How? Ask your mutual friend, Charlotte suggested. And then what? And then who knows, Penny said optimistically. All we can do is try, right? Gretchen didn't answer. Charlotte gave her a gentle squeeze on the arm. All we need is information about his wife, a number if we're lucky, and then the rest of us can run with it to see how much information we can gather about him. Oh, God, must everyone know about this? Charlotte cried angrily. Not everyone, just the core group, Charlotte proposed. It'll make it lighter work, and we can move faster with it, and get the police involved immediately. Fine, Gretchen capitulated. So you'll call your mutual friend tomorrow and we'll take it from there, Penny recapped, to the agreement of Gretchen and Charlotte. Anyone hungry? Charlotte asked. I'm starving and I could do with the company. No, I need to go home to the boys. I've been gone longer than I said I'd be. Me too, Penny added. But you can come to us for dinner. We'd love to have you. Charlotte looked embarrassed. Come on, Penny coaxed. Only if we can pick up some takeaway, my shout. No need for takeaway, Penny smiled. We've got loads of cooked food in the freezer that needs eating. And Hector and I could also do with some company. Please say you'll come. Charlotte smiled. I'd love to. Thanks, Penny. She turned to Gretchen. We'll drop you off on our way. And with that, the three women left Charlotte's house. End of chapter 27. Chapter 28. As dusk settled, Penny and Charlotte sat at the wrought iron table in Penny and Hector's garden. The solar light sticks illuminated the well-manicured lawn and colourful flower beds, casting an ethereal glow over the setting. The table, laid with vari-coloured dinnerware and a vase filled with freshly cut flowers, gleamed under the light of the candles placed around it. The wooden swing seat at the edge of the garden swayed gently in the breeze, almost in rhythm with the soft music that drifted from the kitchen through the open French doors. Where's Hector? Charlotte asked. He's been gone a while. He's probably gone for a lie-down, Penny assumed. He's been in a lot of pain today. Oh dear, poor thing. I'd better head off so you can both get some rest. You'll do no such thing, Penny reproached her kindly. But poor Hector. He's due his pills, that's all. He'll be back when they kick in. But what about you? I'm in pain, Penny admitted, but sitting here with you is helping to distract me from it. It'd be a lot worse for Hector and I if I was upstairs tossing and turning in bed. Charlotte smiled sadly. Life's funny, isn't it? How? Well, if it was based on settings, we'd all be living the life of Riley, wouldn't we? I don't understand, Penny said. Well, I bet there are people who, because of the material trappings of our lives, wish they could swap places with us. If only they knew, eh? True, but I wouldn't swap my life for anything, Penny responded. But what about the pain? Hector's pain, your pain, the not knowing what kind of a day either of you are going to have until the moment arrives, Charlotte asked her. It's not the best, Penny admitted, but some people are really suffering out there. They're besieged on all aspects of their lives. She looked around her. This is a pretty okay setting to be feeling pain and having meds. There are others who are in as much, if not worse, pain, living in countries where they can't even get meds. But you're still in pain even with the meds, Charlotte observed. Yes, but at least they take some edge off the pain. I can't imagine having absolutely no respite. I guess, put like that, Charlotte shrugged and fell silent. After a moment she shook her head. No, I still wouldn't wish my life on anyone else. Really? Really? But why? 'Cause it's crap, Pen. But only the Nathan part, Penny assumed. But it's a huge part, and it corrupts everything else in my life. I find it hard to see any good in any part of my life when I'm so deeply unhappy, Penny. Are you serious? Yes, Charlotte confirmed emphatically. Peace, though highly underrated, is, I believe, the most important thing in life. I can't enjoy what I have when I'm not at peace. But imagine how much worse you'd feel if you were in the same situation but in squalor and wondering how you're going to pay your bills, Penny rationalized. If I had peace of mind, I'd be okay, squalor or no squalor, Charlotte insisted. You're okay with your situation because you have peace. You and Hector live in peace. She glanced over at Penny, who still looked unconvinced. Imagine, Charlotte resumed, Hector was out and running around and you knew it. This very haven of tranquility, as you called it before, would become a torture chamber. Penny pulled her face in disagreement. Trust me, I know, Charlotte attested. Like now, Hector's left us. You'd be wondering if he's calling an affair and what he's up to. If his phone rang, you'd wonder who it was and want to hear the conversation. A text coming in would be torture, because you'd be wondering who sent it and what it says. Will he be making an excuse to go out shortly afterwards? No time is left in your life to notice anything else, much less enjoy anything. Jeepers creepers, Penny exclaimed. And that's only a part of it, Charlotte added. Wow, I'd never have thought of any of that, Penny confessed, and I never imagined that your life was this besieged. How did you cope for so long? I had no choice, Charlotte sighed. You could have left him. No, I couldn't. You left Jim, so why couldn't you leave Nathan? I was in love with Nathan, and that made me a prisoner of hope. Have you fallen out of love with him now? No, Charlotte smiled sadly, but I've lost hope. Penny regarded Charlotte sadly. Do you regret leaving Jim? She asked her. Yes, Charlotte admitted. I regret the pain my affair caused him, and I regret the pain I caused him when I left him. Would you do it all differently if you knew what you know now? Penny inquired. For sure, Charlotte confessed. I know now how Jim must have felt. And as she spoke, her eyes began to well up with tears. Calm as a bitch, eh? But I sowed, and now I must reap. Penny reached forward as if to hug her, but Charlotte put her hand out. Don't be nice to me, I don't deserve it. Don't say that, Charlotte, Penny rebuked her. You're one of the kindest people I've ever met. You deserve peace, and you deserve to be happy. I had peace, Penny, and I was happy, but it wasn't enough, Charlotte explained. I loved Jim deeply, but when Nathan came along, I realized that I was not in love with Jim. It felt wonderful to be in love, Charlotte said, a wistful smile brightening her face, until the reality of Nathan hit. She laughed, and then holding Penny's gaze, she told her, Do you know that Nathan has not gone 1 year of our marriage without cheating on me? No! I kid you not, Charlotte admitted sadly. You're very strong to have stayed sane through all that, Penny told her. I had to, for Poppy's sake. Penny regarded Charlotte thoughtfully. You're out of it now, that's all that matters. Yes, Charlotte said with a wry smile, and then fell silent for a moment. Looking up, she told Penny, I called Poppy at college the other day to tell her the news about the divorce. Guess what she said to me? I don't know. About time too, Charlotte announced, laughing loudly. Imagine that, she exclaimed. There I was, thinking that I had done such a great job of protecting her from the truth, and she tells me about time too. Kids see and understand more than we give them credit, Penny interjected. They do, Charlotte agreed, and gulped down a large mouthful of wine. Penny made as if to say something, but Charlotte, raising her hand, stopped her. This too shall pass, she declared. Yes, Penny agreed with a smile, it shall. After a moment, Penny asked Charlotte, Would you ever go back to Jim? No. Why not? It wouldn't be fair on him for starters. But you said you loved him deeply. Yes, but I also hurt him deeply. And besides, he's happily married. So what now? Follow through with the divorce and then try and heal. Are you still scared? Yes, very much so, Charlotte revealed, looking Penny in the eyes. As I told you and Sarah the other day, it's been ages since I've been alone, and it's taking getting used to again. I'm not sure I agree, Penny interjected thoughtfully. By the sounds of things, it's been a long time since you haven't been alone, Penny corrected. True, Charlotte agreed. Then smiling sadly, she added, The loneliest times were when, to keep up appearances, we'd go to get-togethers or dinner parties. How come? I could never socialize or let my guard down, 'cause I'd spend the whole time monitoring Nathan, and he'd spend the whole time sneaking to talk to his current affair or groping for the next. Gosh, Penny exclaimed. You probably won't believe it, Charlotte continued, but this is my first evening in God knows how long of going to someone's house or gathering without Nathan and actually relaxing. No way. Yes. Why? Because I tried to stick close to him to prevent him from doing the dirty. So, how does it feel being here now? Penny inquired. Wonderful on so many levels, thank you. I haven't done anything. You've done more than you know, Penny. For starters, I'm not sat alone at home feeling sorry for myself. I've talked freely and you haven't judged me. Even though we've talked about him, I haven't missed Nathan. Really? How come? I think voicing the secrets that I've kept for so long has helped bring to my conscious mind the fact that Nathan is a shit and has been all our life together. I deserve better, Penny. Yes, Charlotte, you do, Penny concurred. No more secrets, no more keeping things in the dark, Charlotte smiled. This is my season of light. I like that, Penny smiled, raising her glass. Here's to a future of light, love and peace. Yes, Charlotte beamed, raising her glass. To the future. End of chapter 28. That's a nice note for them to end on. Nice one. I hope Charlotte finds her peace and happiness. My questions are based on that. Would you agree with Charlotte that peace of mind, though underrated, is the most important thing in life? Or do you, like Penny, feel that the softer the pillow on which your life rests, the easier it is to turn life's proverbial lemons into lemonade? What are your thoughts? I'd love to read about them in the comments section. And once again, thank you so much for being back here again. And I look forward to next week when we meet again. Until then, have a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic week ahead. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.